The hotel ballroom sparkled like a jewelry store window, all crystal chandeliers and golden light bouncing off champagne flutes. 300 people in designer clothes mingled around me, their laughter echoing off the marble floors. I stood near the bar, nursing my second whiskey, watching my wife Sabrina work the room like she owned it. And maybe she did. As marketing director for Pinnacle Industries, she commanded respect from everyone here. Me? I was just the compliance officer husband, the guy who made sure the company didn't break any rules, the invisible man in the expensive suit Sabrina bought me for occasions like this. "Looking good tonight, Dave," said Marcus, one of Sabrina's colleagues, slapping my shoulder. "Your wife's really something special?" I nodded, forcing a smile. "Yeah, she is." But as I watched Sabrina laugh at something her boss, CEO Richard Blackwood, whispered in her ear, something cold settled in my stomach. The way she touched his arm, the way her eyes lit up when he spoke, the way she'd been coming home late every night for the past 3 months. I'd been married to Sabrina for 8 years. I knew all her tells. The way she bit her lower lip when she was lying, how she avoided eye contact when she felt guilty, the nervous laugh she made when she was caught doing something she shouldn't. She was doing all three right now. "Ladies and gentlemen," Blackwood's voice boomed through the microphone on stage, "if I could have your attention for just a moment." The crowd quieted, turning toward the stage where Blackwood stood in his $1,000 suit, his silver hair perfectly styled, his smile predatory. At 55, he was everything I wasn't. Wealthy, powerful, commanding, the kind of man who took what he wanted and never faced consequences. "I want to thank everyone for making this year our most profitable yet," he continued, raising his champagne glass. "But there's someone special I need to recognize tonight. Sabrina Mitchell, could you join me up here?" My wife's face flushed as the crowd applauded. She made her way to the stage, her red dress hugging every curve, her blonde hair catching the lights. She looked beautiful. She looked guilty. "Sabrina has been instrumental in our success this year," Blackwood said, wrapping his arm around her waist. "In fact, she's been so helpful, so dedicated, that I have a special question for her." The crowd leaned forward, sensing something big coming. I felt my phone buzz in my pocket, but ignored it. "Sabrina," Blackwood said, his voice carrying clearly through the sound system. "You've given me so much this year. Your time, your energy, your personal attention. So I have to ask, in front of everyone here, would you like to hook up with me tonight?" The ballroom fell silent. About 300 people held their breath. I felt the blood drain from my face as I stared at my wife, waiting for her to laugh it off, to step away, to remember she was married. Instead, she looked directly at me across the crowded room. Our eyes met for a long moment. I saw the choice playing out on her face. Her marriage or her career, her husband or her boss. "Yes," she said into the microphone, her voice clear and strong. "Yes, I would." The crowd erupted. Some gasped, others cheered, a few laughed nervously. But I just stood there, my drink forgotten in my hand, watching my wife choose another man in front of 300 witnesses. That's when I pulled out my phone and sent the text I'd prepared 3 weeks ago, after I'd hired the private investigator, after I'd gathered all the evidence, after I'd planned every detail of what would happen next. "It's time. Send them in." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The ballroom doors burst open like something out of a movie. 6 people in dark suits strode in with the confidence of federal agents, led by chairman of the board, Robert Sterling. At 72, Sterling commanded respect from everyone in the room, including Blackwood. "Richard," Sterling's voice cut through the crowd noise like a knife. "Step away from Mrs. Mitchell, now." Blackwood's face went white. Sabrina froze on stage, the microphone still in her hand. The crowd parted like the Red Sea as Sterling and the other board members marched toward the stage. "Bob, what's the meaning of this?" Blackwood stammered, but his usual confidence had evaporated. "The meaning, Richard, is that your little performance tonight was recorded by the hotel's AV system and broadcast live to our legal team," Sterling replied, his voice carrying clearly in the silent ballroom. "Intimate harassment of an employee in public with 300 witnesses. Congratulations. You just gave us cause for immediate termination." I watched from across the room as Sabrina's face went from flushed to pale. She finally understood what was happening. Her eyes found mine again, and I raised my glass in a mock toast. "Dave knew," she whispered into the microphone, not realizing it was still on. "He knew this would happen." "Of course he knew," Sterling said, looking directly at me. "Dave Mitchell is our new director of compliance, effective immediately. And one of his first recommendations was installing a zero-tolerance policy for harassment, a policy you just violated spectacularly. Security guards appeared from nowhere, flanking Blackwood. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the most powerful man in the company was escorted toward the exit like a common criminal. But I wasn't done yet. I walked calmly through the crowd, which parted before me like I was Moses. When I reached the stage, I climbed the steps and took the microphone from Sabrina's trembling hands. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through my veins. "I want to thank you all for witnessing my wife's choice tonight. Sabrina chose her career over her marriage, her boss over her husband. She made that choice publicly, in front of all of you." Sabrina grabbed my arm. "Dave, please, let me explain." I gently but firmly removed her hand. "There's nothing to explain, Sabrina. You said yes. Everyone heard it. Everyone saw it." I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out a manila envelope. "These are divorce papers. They were filed this morning, contingent on tonight's events. Congratulations, you're now free to pursue your relationship with Mr. Blackwood. Oh, wait, he just got fired." The crowd gasped as I handed her the papers. Some people started taking pictures with their phones. In the age of social media, this would be everywhere by morning. "The house is in my name," I continued, speaking into the microphone so everyone could hear. "The cars are in my name. The bank accounts are frozen pending the divorce proceedings. Your company credit cards have been canceled. I called the bank an hour ago, and since you just publicly announced your intention to commit adultery, this will be a very straightforward divorce." Sabrina's legs gave out. She sat down hard on the stage steps, the divorce papers scattered around her. "Dave, you can't do this. I made a mistake. I was drunk. I was pressured." "You made a choice," I said simply, in front of 300 witnesses, with a microphone in your hand. There's no taking it back now. I looked out at the crowd, seeing faces I'd known for years. Colleagues, friends, neighbors. They'd all heard Sabrina choose another man over me. They'd all witnessed her humiliation. "Enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone," I said into the microphone. "The bar's still open." I walked off the stage, through the silent crowd, and out of the ballroom. Behind me, I could hear Sabrina crying, but I didn't look back. Phase 1 was complete. The next morning, I woke up in my own bed, in my own house, alone. Sabrina had spent the night at her sister Jennifer's place. I knew because I'd had her followed. The private investigator I'd hired 3 weeks ago was thorough, professional, and expensive, worth every penny. My phone had been buzzing all night with calls and texts. News of the Christmas party had spread through social media like wildfire. Someone had filmed Sabrina's public confession and Blackwood's termination. The video had already been viewed 50,000 times. I made coffee and sat at my kitchen table, reading through the messages. Most were from colleagues expressing shock and support. A few were from friends asking if I was okay. Several were from reporters wanting a statement. But the most interesting message was from Tom Bradley, my former best friend and Sabrina's current ally. "We need to talk. Meet me at Murphy's Bar tonight at 8. Come alone." Tom had been my best friend since college, best man at my wedding, godfather to the children Sabrina and I never had. But over the past few months, as my marriage deteriorated, Tom had taken Sabrina's side. He'd told me I was paranoid, that I was imagining things, that I should trust my wife. He'd been wrong, or maybe he'd known the truth all along. I spent the day at the office, accepting congratulations on my promotion and fielding questions about the divorce. The board had moved quickly. Blackwood's office was already being cleaned out, his access revoked, his company car repossessed. "How long did you know?" Sterling asked me during our afternoon meeting. 3 weeks, I replied honestly. I hired a private investigator when I started noticing the signs. Late nights, secret phone calls, changes in behavior. The PI confirmed what I suspected. "And you planned all this?" "I planned to protect myself and the company. Blackwood was a liability. His behavior with female employees was an open secret. Sabrina was just the most recent victim." Sterling nodded approvingly. "Victim or willing participant?" "Both," I said. "She was manipulated by someone in a position of power, but she also made choices. Last night, she made the final choice. At 8 o'clock, I walked into Murphy's Bar, a dive establishment 3 blocks from the office. Tom was already there, sitting in a corner booth with 2 other people I recognized, Sabrina's sister Jennifer and our mutual friend Mike Peterson. An intervention. How predictable. "Dave?" Tom stood as I approached. "Thanks for coming." "Wouldn't miss it," I said, sliding into the booth across from them. "Let me guess. You want to talk about Sabrina." "She's devastated," Jennifer said immediately. "She made a mistake, but you destroyed her entire life in one night." "I didn't destroy anything," I replied calmly. I simply revealed the truth. Sabrina chose to have an affair. Sabrina chose to say yes when Blackwood propositioned her publicly. I just made sure there were consequences. You set her up, Mike accused. You orchestrated the whole thing. I protected myself and my interests. If Sabrina hadn't been having an affair, if she hadn't said yes to Blackwood, none of this would have happened. She could have said no. She could have walked away. She could have remembered she was married. She was drunk, Jennifer protested. She was under pressure. Blackwood put her in an impossible position. And she chose him over me, in front of 300 people, with a microphone in her hand. Tom leaned forward. Dave, we've been friends for 15 years. I'm asking you to reconsider the divorce. Sabrina loves you. She made a mistake, but it's not too late to fix this. I studied Tom's face, seeing something I'd missed before, the way he avoided eye contact, the nervous energy, the defensive posture. How long have you known about the affair, Tom? His face went red. I don't know what you're talking about. You've been covering for her, taking her side, telling me I was paranoid when I suspected something was wrong. You knew she was cheating, and you helped her hide it. That's not... Did you know she was sleeping with Blackwood, Tom? The silence stretched between us. Jennifer and Mike looked at Tom, waiting for his answer. Finally, he nodded. She told me a month ago. She was confused, scared. She didn't know how to end it without destroying her career. So you helped her lie to me. I told her to end it. I told her to come clean, but she was terrified of losing everything. Instead, she lost everything anyway, and so did you. I stood up, looking down at the 3 people who had once been the closest friends in my life. Tom, our friendship is over. You chose to help my wife lie to me instead of being honest with your best friend. Jennifer, you're Sabrina's sister, so I understand your loyalty. But don't expect any sympathy from me. And Mike, you're just here because you love drama. Dave, please, Tom started. No, you all made your choices. You chose to protect Sabrina's affair instead of protecting our friendship, our marriage, our trust. Now live with the consequences. I walked out of the bar, leaving them sitting there in stunned silence. Phase 2 was complete. 2 days later, Tom showed up at my house. I was in the garage working on my motorcycle when I heard the doorbell ring. Through the security camera, I could see him standing on my front porch, looking like he hadn't slept in days. I ignored him. The doorbell rang again, then again. Finally, Tom walked around to the garage where I was tightening the chain on my Harley. We need to talk, he said. No, we don't. I didn't look up from my work. Dave, I know you're angry. Angry? I set down my wrench and finally looked at him. Tom, angry doesn't begin to cover it. You were my best friend, my brother, and you helped my wife cheat on me. I didn't help her cheat. I told her to end it. But you didn't tell me about it. For a month, you knew my wife was screwing her boss, and you said nothing. You let me walk around like an idiot while everyone else knew the truth. Tom's face crumpled. She begged me not to say anything. She said she would handle it. And you believed her. I wanted to believe her. I wiped my hands on a rag and leaned against my workbench. Do you know what the worst part is, Tom? It's not that Sabrina cheated. It's not even that she chose Blackwood over me in front of 300 people. The worst part is that my best friend, the person I trusted most in the world besides my wife, betrayed me too. I was trying to protect everyone. You were trying to avoid conflict. There's a difference. Tom was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Sabrina wants to see you. She's been staying at Jennifer's, but she wants to come home. She wants to work things out. There's nothing to work out. She made her choice. She was manipulated. Blackwood was her boss. She felt like she had no choice. She always had a choice. And when it mattered most, when she had a microphone in her hand and 300 people watching, she chose him. You set her up. You planned the whole thing. I protected myself. I gathered evidence. I made sure that when the truth came out, I wouldn't be the one left with nothing. Tom stepped closer. You destroyed her life. She destroyed her own life. I just made sure everyone saw it happen. You're not the man I thought you were. No, I agreed. I'm not the naive fool you and Sabrina thought you could manipulate forever. I'm the man who learned the truth and did something about it. Tom's face hardened. You want to know the truth? Fine. Sabrina wasn't the only one Blackwood was sleeping with. He had 3 other affairs in the past 2 years. Sabrina knew about them. She thought if she played along, she'd get promoted. She thought she could use him the way he was using her. So she's not a victim. She's a collaborator. She's a woman trying to survive in a man's world. She's a cheater trying to justify her choices. Tom shook his head. You've changed, Dave. You used to be compassionate. You used to forgive. I used to be stupid. I used to trust people who didn't deserve it. Like me, especially like you. Tom stared at me for a long moment, then turned and walked away. At the end of my driveway, he stopped and looked back. Sabrina's pregnant, he said. My blood turned to ice. What? She found out yesterday. She's 8 weeks along. I did the math in my head. 8 weeks ago, Sabrina and I were still sleeping together, but so was she in Blackwood. Is it mine? She doesn't know. Tom got in his car and drove away, leaving me standing in my garage with the weight of this new information crushing down on me. If Sabrina was pregnant, everything changed. If the baby was mine, I had a responsibility. If it was Blackwood's, the scandal would destroy what was left of Sabrina's reputation. Either way, I was about to become the father of a child born from betrayal. I called my private investigator, Marcus Webb, the next morning. I need you to find out everything you can about Richard Blackwood's other affairs, I told him. Names, dates, evidence, everything. Already on it, Webb replied. After what happened at the Christmas party, 3 women have come forward. They're all willing to testify about Blackwood's behavior. What about Sabrina's pregnancy? I heard about that. You want me to arrange a paternity test? Not yet. First, I want to know if Blackwood knows about it. Webb was quiet for a moment. Dave, I have to ask, what's your endgame here? You've already won. Blackwood's fired, your wife's reputation is destroyed, you're getting a divorce on favorable terms. What more do you want? I want the truth, all of it, and I want everyone who betrayed me to face consequences. Including your wife? Especially my wife. 2 days later, Webb called me with information that changed everything. Blackwood knows about the pregnancy, he said. Sabrina told him yesterday, but here's the interesting part. He's not the father. How do you know? Because Blackwood had a vasectomy 3 years ago. It's in his medical records. I felt a mixture of relief and anger. Relief that Sabrina hadn't gotten pregnant by another man. Anger that she'd let me think it was possible. There's more, Webb continued. Sabrina's been in contact with a divorce attorney. She's planning to claim the pregnancy changes everything, that you have a moral obligation to reconcile for the sake of the child. Even though she cheated? Her lawyer thinks they can spin it as a moment of weakness, exacerbated by pregnancy hormones. They're going to argue that you manipulated the situation to humiliate her publicly. I laughed bitterly. So now I'm the villain? In her version of the story, yes. What about Tom and Jennifer and Mike? They're all willing to testify on her behalf. They'll say you were controlling, jealous, paranoid. They'll paint you as an abusive husband who drove his wife into another man's arms. I sat in my office, staring out the window at the city below. Everything I'd built, everything I'd planned, was about to be turned against me. Sabrina and her allies were going to rewrite history, making me the bad guy in our marriage. But I had one advantage they didn't know about. Webb, I need you to do one more thing for me. What's that? I need you to find out if Tom has been sleeping with Sabrina too. Webb was quiet for a long moment. You think your best friend was also having an affair with your wife? I think Tom's been awfully protective of Sabrina for someone who was just trying to help. I think his guilt runs deeper than just keeping her secret. I'll look into it. 3 hours later, Webb called back. You were right, he said. Tom and Sabrina have been meeting at the Riverside Motel every Tuesday for the past 6 weeks. I have photos, credit card records, everything. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow. My wife hadn't just cheated with her boss. She'd been cheating with my best friend, too. Dave, you still there? I'm here, I managed to say. What do you want me to do with this information? I thought about Tom's face when he told me about Sabrina's pregnancy. The guilt, the defensiveness, the way he'd tried to make me feel like the villain. I want you to deliver copies of everything to Tom's wife, Lisa. Make sure she gets them when Tom's not home. That's going to destroy their marriage. Good. Tom destroyed mine. Now it's his turn. Lisa Bradley called me that evening, sobbing. Dave, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Tom's been lying to me for months. I know, Lisa. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. How long have you known? I just found out today, but I suspected something when Tom was so quick to defend Sabrina. He told me he was helping a friend through a difficult time. He said Sabrina needed emotional support because you were being controlling and jealous. And you believed him? I wanted to believe him, just like you wanted to believe Sabrina. Lisa was quiet for a moment, then asked, What are you going to do now? I'm going to finish what they started. The next morning, I called Sabrina. We need to talk. I said when she answered. Dave, thank God. I've been trying to reach you. We need to discuss the baby. Meet me at Murphy's bar tonight at 8. Come alone. I don't think a bar is the right place to. 8 o'clock, Sabrina. Don't be late. I arrived at Murphy's at 7:30 and chose a table in the center of the room where everyone could see and hear us. I'd already called several mutual friends and colleagues, letting them know Sabrina and I would be there to discuss our reconciliation. By 8 o'clock, the bar was packed with people who knew us. Sabrina arrived exactly on time, looking nervous but hopeful. She'd dressed carefully. A conservative blouse that showed her slight pregnancy bump, minimal makeup, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. She looked like the perfect picture of a repentant wife. Dave, she said, sitting across from me. Thank you for agreeing to meet. Of course, we have a lot to discuss. The baby changes everything. I know I made mistakes, but we can work through this, for the sake of our child. I nodded sympathetically. You're right. The baby does change everything. Tell me, Sabrina, when exactly did you find out you were pregnant? 2 weeks ago. I wanted to tell you, but after what happened at the Christmas party, 2 weeks ago, so you knew you were pregnant when you said yes to Blackwood. Sabrina's face flushed. I was confused, scared. I didn't know what to do. So you decided to sleep with your boss, and my best friend. The color drained from Sabrina's face. Around us, conversation stopped as people began to listen. I don't know what you're talking about, she whispered. I pulled out a manila envelope and spread photographs across the table. Pictures of Sabrina and Tom entering and leaving the Riverside Motel. Pictures of them kissing in his car. Pictures of them holding hands in restaurants across town. These were taken over the past 6 weeks, I said, speaking loudly enough for everyone in the bar to hear. While you were sleeping with Blackwood, you were also sleeping with Tom, my best friend, your sister's brother-in-law, the man I trusted more than anyone in the world. Sabrina grabbed for the photos, but I pulled them back. Dave, please, let me explain. Explain what? That you were cheating on me with 2 different men? That you got pregnant and didn't know which one was the father? That you were planning to use our baby to manipulate me into taking you back? It's not like that. It's exactly like that. You've been playing all of us. Blackwood thought he was your only affair. Tom thought he was special. I thought I was your husband. But we were all just marks in your game. Sabrina started crying, but I wasn't finished. The best part is, neither of them could be the father. Blackwood had a vasectomy 3 years ago, and Tom's been shooting blanks since his cancer treatment 5 years ago. Something you would know if you'd paid attention when Lisa was trying to get pregnant. The bar was completely silent now. Everyone was staring at our table, watching Sabrina's world collapse in real time. So, congratulations, Sabrina. The baby is mine. The only man you weren't trying to manipulate is the one who's actually going to be a father. Sabrina's sobs echoed through the silent bar. Dave, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. But it did happen, and now everyone knows the truth. I stood up, leaving the photos scattered on the table for everyone to see. Enjoy your evening, Sabrina. Try not to cheat on anyone on your way home. I walked out of the bar, leaving my wife crying at the table, surrounded by the evidence of her betrayals and the judgment of everyone we'd once called friends. The next morning, Tom showed up at my office. Security tried to stop him, but I told them to let him through. I wanted this conversation. You bastard, he said, bursting through my door. You destroyed my marriage. No, Tom. You destroyed your marriage when you started sleeping with my wife. Lisa threw me out. She won't even let me see the kids. Good. Maybe now you'll understand how it feels to lose everything because of someone else's betrayal. Tom slammed his fist on my desk. I loved her, Dave. I loved Sabrina. You loved the thrill of sneaking around. You loved feeling like you were getting away with something. You didn't love her enough to be honest about it. She was going to leave you. We were going to be together. Were you? Or were you just another option she was keeping open? Tom's face crumpled. She said she needed time. She said she had to figure things out. She was playing you, Tom. Just like she was playing Blackwood. Just like she was playing me. You don't understand. She was trapped. Blackwood was threatening her job if she didn't sleep with him. And what was your excuse? Was someone threatening you too? Tom sat down heavily in the chair across from my desk. I don't know how it started. We were just talking, and then you decided to betray your best friend and your wife for a few hours of excitement. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. You threw away 15 years of friendship for intimacy with my wife. Tom looked up at me with tears in his eyes. What do you want, Dave? You've already won. Sabrina's reputation is destroyed. Blackwood's career is over. My marriage is finished. What more do you want? I want you to understand something, Tom. This isn't about winning or losing. This is about consequences. You and Sabrina thought you could lie and cheat and manipulate without paying a price. You thought you were smarter than everyone else. We never meant to hurt you, but you did hurt me, and you didn't care, as long as you didn't get caught. Tom wiped his eyes. So what happens now? Now you live with what you've done. You find a new place to live, a new job, a new life. You stay away from me, from Sabrina, from anyone connected to this mess. And if I don't? I leaned forward. Tom, I've spent the past month learning things about you and Sabrina that would shock you. Affairs, lies, financial irregularities, professional misconduct. If you ever contact me or my family again, if you ever try to interfere in my life, I will release everything I know to everyone you care about. You're threatening me? I'm promising you. Stay away and your secrets stay buried. Cross me again and I'll destroy what's left of your life. Tom stared at me for a long moment, then stood up. You've changed, Dave. You used to be a good man. I'm still a good man. I'm just not a naive one anymore. After Tom left, I sat in my office, looking out at the city. In 3 weeks, I'd gone from being the fool who didn't know his wife was cheating to the man who'd exposed the truth and destroyed everyone who'd betrayed him. But I wasn't finished yet. Sabrina called me that evening, her voice barely above a whisper. Dave, we need to talk about the baby. What about it? I want to work things out, for our child's sake. There is no working things out, Sabrina. You made your choices. I made mistakes, but I'm still your wife. This is still your baby. You're my wife on paper. The divorce will be final in 60 days. And yes, this is my baby, which is why I'm going to fight for full custody. You can't do that. I'm the mother. You're an adulteress who publicly humiliated herself and her family. You had affairs with multiple men while pregnant. You're not fit to raise a child. Dave, please, I know I hurt you, but don't punish our baby for my mistakes. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm protecting my child from a mother who lies, cheats, and manipulates everyone around her. Sabrina was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, What if I told you there was more to the story? What if I told you I wasn't the only victim here? What are you talking about? Blackwood didn't just threaten my job. He threatened yours, too. He said if I didn't sleep with him, he'd find a way to get you fired. I laughed bitterly. So now you're claiming you cheated on me to protect me? It's true. He showed me emails you'd sent to the board about his business practices. He said he could make you look like a disgruntled employee trying to sabotage the company. Sabrina, I sent those emails because Blackwood was breaking the law. That was my job. But he could have twisted them, made you look bad, destroyed your career. So you decided to sleep with him instead. I was trying to protect both of us. And Tom? Were you protecting me from Tom too? Sabrina started crying again. Tom was a mistake. I was lonely, confused. You were working late every night, gathering evidence against Blackwood. I felt like you cared more about destroying him than saving our marriage. I was trying to save our marriage by removing the threat to it. But you never told me what you were doing. You just became cold, distant, suspicious. I thought you didn't love me anymore. So you found comfort with my best friend. It just happened. We were talking about you, about how worried we were about you, and then you decided to betray me together. Sabrina's sobs echoed through the phone. Dave, I know I can't undo what I've done, but I love you. I've always loved you. Everything I did because I was scared of losing you. Well, congratulations. You lost me anyway. What about our baby? Don't you want your child to have a mother? I want my child to have a good mother. You're not that person anymore. I could be. I could change. Sabrina, you stood on a stage in front of 300 people and chose another man over me. You had affairs with 2 different men while carrying my child. You lied to everyone who trusted you. You don't get to change. You get to live with the consequences. So that's it? You're just going to take my baby and disappear? I'm going to raise my child to be honest, loyal, and trustworthy. Everything you're not. Dave, please. I hung up the phone. 3 days later, Sabrina showed up at my house with Jennifer and Mike. I watched them through the security camera as they stood on my front porch, arguing about what to say. I opened the door before they could ring the bell. What do you want? We want to talk, Jennifer said. About the baby? About Sabrina's future? Sabrina doesn't have a future, not with me. Dave, you're being unreasonable, Mike said. Sabrina made mistakes, but she's still family. She stopped being family when she chose Blackwood over me. She was coerced, Jennifer insisted. Blackwood was her boss. She felt like she had no choice. She had a choice when she started sleeping with Tom. That was different. She was emotionally vulnerable. She was emotionally unfaithful. There's a difference. Sabrina stepped forward. Dave, I brought something for you. She handed me a thick envelope. It's everything. All the emails Blackwood sent me, all the threats he made, all the evidence that he was coercing me. I opened the envelope and scanned the documents. Emails, text messages, voice recordings, all showing Blackwood pressuring Sabrina for favors in exchange for job security and promotions. This doesn't change anything, I said. It proves I was a victim. It proves you were a victim of Blackwood. It doesn't explain Tom. Sabrina's face crumpled. I can't explain Tom. It just happened. Things don't just happen, Sabrina. People make choices. I made bad choices, but I'm trying to make better ones now. Too late. Jennifer stepped forward angrily. Dave, you're being cruel. Sabrina is pregnant with your child. She needs support, not punishment. Sabrina needs to face the consequences of her actions, just like everyone else. What about you? Mike demanded. What about your consequences? You manipulated the situation at the Christmas party. You set Sabrina up to fail. I protected myself from a wife who was cheating on me. If Sabrina hadn't been having affairs, nothing would have happened. You recorded her without her knowledge. You violated her privacy. I gathered evidence of her infidelity. That's called being smart. It's called being vindictive, Jennifer snapped. No, vindictive is what's about to happen next. I pulled out my phone and showed them a video. It was security footage from the Riverside Motel, showing Sabrina and Tom entering a room together. This footage is going to be entered as evidence in my custody hearing, I said, along with the photos, the credit card records, and the testimony of 3 witnesses who saw you together. Sabrina's face went white. You can't use that in court. I can, and I will. You committed adultery while pregnant with my child. No judge is going to award you custody. Dave, please, Jennifer begged. Think about what you're doing. This is your child, too. Exactly. This is my child. And I'm going to protect him or her from a mother who lies, cheats, and manipulates everyone around her. You're taking our baby away because you're angry at me, Sabrina whispered. I'm taking my baby away because you're not fit to be a mother. Mike stepped forward aggressively. You bastard. You planned all of this. I planned to protect myself and my interests. If you don't like the results, maybe you should have thought about that before you helped Sabrina lie to me. We were trying to help. You were trying to avoid conflict. There's a difference. I looked at the 3 people standing on my porch, seeing them clearly for the first time. Jennifer, who'd always resented me for taking her sister away from their family, Mike, who thrived on drama and chaos, and Sabrina, who'd never learned to take responsibility for her actions. This conversation is over, I said. Sabrina, you'll hear from my lawyer about the custody arrangements. Jennifer, Mike, stay away from my house and my family. If any of you contact me again, I'll file restraining orders. I started to close the door, but Sabrina grabbed it. Dave, wait. There's something else you need to know. What now? Tom didn't seduce me. I seduced him. I stared at her. What? I was angry at you for being so distant. I wanted to hurt you the way you were hurting me. So I went after Tom because I knew it would destroy you. The admission hit me like a physical blow. You deliberately set out to hurt me. I was hurting too. I felt like you didn't love me anymore. So you decided to sleep with my best friend to get back at me. I thought if you found out, it would make you fight for our marriage. Instead, it ended our marriage. I know that now, but I was desperate. I felt like I was losing you. I looked at Sabrina, seeing her clearly for the first time in years, not as the woman I'd married, not as the mother of my child, but as the person who'd deliberately set out to destroy the most important relationships in my life. Get off my property, I said quietly. Dave, get off my property before I call the police. They left, and I watched them drive away, knowing it was the last time I'd ever speak to any of them as anything other than adversaries. Epilogue. 6 months later. The custody hearing lasted 3 days. Sabrina's lawyer tried to paint me as a controlling, manipulative husband who'd driven his wife into the arms of other men. My lawyer presented evidence of Sabrina's multiple affairs, her public humiliation of our marriage, and her admission that she'd deliberately seduced my best friend to hurt me. The judge awarded me full custody with supervised visitation rights for Sabrina. Our daughter was born on a Tuesday morning in May. I named her Emma after my grandmother. Sabrina was allowed to hold her for 10 minutes before the social worker took Emma home with me. Tom moved to another state after his divorce was finalized. Lisa got the house, the kids, and most of their assets. Last I heard, Tom was working at a hardware store in Ohio, living in a studio apartment above a pizza shop. Blackwood tried to sue the company for wrongful termination. The case was thrown out when 3 more women came forward with evidence of his harassment. He's currently working as a sales manager for a small insurance company in Florida. Jennifer and Mike stopped speaking to me entirely, which was fine with me. They sided with Sabrina during the custody battle and testified against me in court. Their testimony backfired when my lawyer revealed that they'd known about both affairs and helped cover them up. Sabrina lives in a small apartment across town. She sees Emma twice a week for 2 hours, always with a social worker present. She's working as a receptionist at a dental office and taking night classes to finish her degree. She's never remarried. As for me, I was promoted to Vice President of Compliance 6 months after Blackwood's termination. I make twice what I used to make, I have full custody of my daughter, and I own my house outright. I've started dating again, carefully, slowly, with complete background checks. Emma is 8 months old now, and she's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. She has my eyes and Sabrina's smile, and when she laughs, it's the best sound in the world. She'll never know the details of what her mother did, but she'll grow up knowing that actions have consequences and that trust, once broken, can never be fully repaired. Sometimes people ask me if I regret how everything happened, if I wish I'd handled things differently, if I think I was too harsh on Sabrina and Tom and everyone else who betrayed me. The answer is no. They made their choices. I made mine. They chose lies, adultery, and betrayal. I chose truth, justice, and consequences. They lost everything. I won everything. And Emma and I are living happily ever after.